Are you struggling to pick the ultimate AI agent framework? You're not alone. Today we are putting AutoGen for Microsoft Research, LangGraph from LangChain and LangSmith ecosystem, and CrewAI from CrewAI Labs. Head to head in a live teardown. Same model, same data, same prompt. Interesting fact, the difference wasn't in the data or the model, it was in how each framework interpreted and organized the work. Send a comment, a like, set your notification button, and we'll also ask you to subscribe to our channel. And so it encourages us to provide you premium content in relation to the intersection of cloud and AI. Welcome back to Cloud AI Nexus 360, where real-world cloud meets intelligent innovation. Today we are going to be continuing with our tests so we can identify how these three AI agent frameworks can be sort of battle tested, given the same data, the same prompt, and the same model to see which one comes up top. We understand that AutoGen treats AI as a free conversation between agents, like a project manager, a data analyst, and is always characterized by its dynamism and elegance. Whereas LangGraph thinks of the world as a workflow graph. It is deterministic in nature, leveraging the state machine concept or construct, is step by step in terms of nodes, and this tries to orchestrate reasoning and tools, but with a very different philosophy. Lastly, CrewAI takes a different approach. It treats AI as a role-based team. Each agent has a clear role. For instance, a writer, a researcher, a planner, all collaborating towards one goal. It is structured but flexible. It thinks in terms of the teamwork philosophy, and it is not just orchestration. We also use the environmental variables to include the necessary model details. In this case, we are going to be using Gemini. Provide some outputs in relation to telemetry, and that telemetry will provide us details around duration, token counts, or LLM call breakdowns. So we also provided some guardrails against hallucination. So each agent is forced to reuse the same BI numbers, and that is validated against emails with a number checker to reject any figure that doesn't exist in the business intelligence block. So I'm going to show you where that is as part of the So you see here, it will say validate email numbers, pre-calculated metrics, email body. So if there is an error which is identified, it's going to raise this error and say that the AutoGen output used numbers not in the data set. And this is replicated for all the other frameworks as well. We also crafted shared prompts. So all the frameworks is going to use identical prompts An analyst is going to prompt to produce exactly 3-line insights. A project manager is going to prompt to write concise executive requirements. And a comms specialist is going to prompt that returns a plain text executive email between the begin and end email, as you can rightly see. So you see the little helper here to do with the begin and end email. So LangGraph is going to build a state machine, a non-LLM supervisor route work to nodes, project manager, data analyst, and reviewer, each powered by the same Gemini model. The supervisor only decides flow, no generation. Lastly, CrewAI is going to assemble role-based agents with sequential tasks. The PM defines requirements, analyst extracts exactly 3 insights, and the comm specialist will craft the final email, all with the same BI inputs. So each will run outputs. The output is essentially an executive email with findings. The extracted email body will be verified against all numbers exist in the business intelligence input or results from the script that was run. And if a model invents a number, it's going to essentially fail validation. So I did show that previously. I think it was somewhere. Okay. The telemetry comparison is essentially we're going to print a side-by-side telemetry summary, and that will show total duration, the number of LLM calls, the total tokens, cumulative LLM time versus non-LLM time, and step-by-step breakdown per framework. So that is, I think each of the blocks to do with the agent frameworks do have some of that as part of the construct there. As you can rightly see here, we have that as a telemetry for AutoGen. And if we look at the line graph, you're going to see that as well. A bit of telemetry handout there. And let's see what we have for CrewAI. Similar, CrewAI is there. Okay. So we're going to have the delight of running the script to put the AI agent frameworks to test. Okay. So let's just read the email outputs for now. So you can see the first one, which is, no, we'll go to AutoGen first. I think this is AutoGen. So key insights to boost profitability, revenue growth opportunities. And it says Saturday generates the highest transaction volume with 87 transactions in the service, drives this amount in total revenue, significantly more than lunch. Weekend revenue is this amount in dollars versus this amount on weekends. Let's discuss strategies to capitalize on these trends. So that is for AutoGen. So let's look at the email output for LangGraph. So LangGraph says revenue performance update and recommendations, provides key performance insights and actionable recommendations. Dinner generated is blah 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 with 21% higher bills than lunch. Capitalize on dinner performance. Saturday had 87 transactions, the busiest day. Optimize staffing service on Saturdays to further improve revenue. I like this one, whereby for each of the pointers it provided recommendations. Weekend revenue is this versus that. For weekdays, investigate strategies to improve weekday revenue. And this one had percentage. It pulled out the percentage there. And let's see what the last one, which is CrewAI. It says revenue, restaurant performance insights and recommendations. Overall revenue reached this amount with this and tips, key insights. Saturday is the busiest day, generating that from 87 transactions. And it did say weekend revenue is this. So you can see that it is actually correct. You see where my pointer is for weekend is the same amount. So it's calculating this correctly. Significantly exceeds weekday revenue, which is that. And it also noted that as well for weekdays. And it says at the end, it now says, let's discuss to optimize staffing and boost weekday revenue. So this was more concerned with weekday revenue, whereas AutoGen wanted to apply remediations across the various days. It wasn't too particular about whether it was weekend or weekday. That's interesting. What else? So we can also see the telemetry details here, relation to overall duration, and the LLM calls for AutoGen, and we can see detail around breakdown, sort of introspective around the breakdown between the agents, and for LangGraph, it's something similar. We provided some introspect in terms of breakdown with the agents. We've given the number of calls, which is 3, to the models. We also have, and you can see that the duration seems to be a bit high for LangGraph. Its number of agents is also 3, and it looks as if CrewAI has the longest duration, obviously. We don't have much, it didn't give us detail around the interaction between the agents, but I think what we'll do, we'll go to this link here to pull the data from CrewAI itself. So we're going to do that. So these are all the details from CrewAI, as you can rightly see here. It provided much detail. It provided all the conversations between the staff, the project manager, the data analyst, the communication specialist, etc. So we can now use this and synthesize and summarize what the detail is in relation to the flow. So a snapshot of the test run will basically say that AutoGen was obviously the fastest in terms of number of seconds. It was 0.48 seconds, while LangGraph was 6.4 seconds, and CrewAI was over 16 seconds, which appeared to be the heaviest orchestration. In terms of compliance, we'll say that all the three AI agent frameworks respected the fact that no new numbers were going to be introduced, and they kept also to the guardrail around the number of words, which we rightly defined as not being more than 200 words in the executive summaries for the emails. In relation to structure and auditability, we'll say that LangGraph provided a clearest node flow between the PM and the data analyst as well as the reviewer. So that's exhibited sort of predictable outputs. For CrewAI, we will say that it had the strongest audit trail in terms of trace link, enterprise friendly, role segregation, whereas for AutoGen, it was most conversational, with a bit of risk of verbosity, which exhibited redundancy as well, without strict prompts, but obviously it was blasting fast in relation to the overall latency. So in relation to specific framework recommendations, we're more aligned to the fact that it's usually a mix of match. There has been some chatter around deployment of CrewAI in enterprise settings, but obviously it has its strengths. One could say it might be more around the likes of, say, proof of concepts. Whereas for AutoGen, we'll say that it provided some speed and allowed for easy ideation. Its use can be tailored more to the creative side in terms of expanse steps, alternative phrasing, subject line variants, etc. Line graph can be referred to as sort of a production backbone. So they said you can make it your orchestrator of record because of it being deterministic in terms of the flow between the actual agents in question in this system to do with the PM, the DA, and the communication specialist. Okay. In relation to CrewAI again, it provided a lot of traceability around the backend, so we're able to see that, which some of the other agents were easy in relation to rendering the nature of the workflow on the CLI prompt, whereas CrewAI wanted for us to go to their website to glean that information from. So it provided that traceability, it provided the nature of that interaction, and also we could see the details around the interaction of all the agents in question there. So in summary, we will say CrewAI can be used as a governance layer, LangGraph for structured task flow, AutoGen for creative exploratory collaboration, and there's nothing wrong in using a combination of these agents, these AI agent frameworks in your deployments, or what stage of the deployment cycle you are at, whether that be in test or dev, in staging or in production. Thank you so much for joining. So send a comment, a like, set your notification bell or button, and we'll also ask you to kindly subscribe to our channel, Cloud AI Nexus 360, where real world cloud meets intelligent innovation. Thank you.